Thank you, Dave, for the opportunity to be here today to tour this incredible facility. And I have to admit, having a tour today, having conversed with David and a number of your leadership team and looking across the employees, it's a day that really inspires confidence, inspires optimism, and the reality that regardless of the journey that it took to get here, we've got a great organization that's entrenched in our community for generations to come. So first off, congratulations, Canopy, on your settlement at 99 Lorne, the new 1 Hershey Drive. As we move forward, we look forward to a great mutual success together. It's almost hard to believe that Tweed has been a part of our community for almost 9 years now. That's just been my entire term as mayor over the last 9 years. And I can still recall Bruce Linton and a small group of visionary investors coming to council in 2014. Councillor Jay Brennan and I were on council at that time, seeking support for the establishment of a medical cannabis facility in what was then a vacant and quickly deteriorating old Hershey factory. The story at the time was that Tweed, as it was known then, may someday occupy 1/3 of that 480,000 square foot building and maybe hire up to 150 people. And although the projected employment numbers seem modest in comparison to the jobs we had lost through the closure of Hershey's, Regional Center, and others, for the first time in years we had hope. Then in early 2015, Sherwood Packaging announced it would be closing its facility in Smith Falls. Anyone know where that building was located? Exactly. Of course, we all know what happened in 2016. The Liberals came to power in Ottawa, and by 2017, Tweed had purchased 1 Hershey Drive, and a major redevelopment and expansion began. And for the next 2 years, town staff, we've got our senior planner here, Carol Granke, I think is still here, heavily involved in trying to facilitate the redevelopment of 1 Hershey Drive. In the midst of all this, Canopy acquired the former Grenville Castings building adjacent to where we are now, the Regional Distribution Center. And also, of course, the former Sherwood Packaging site that once sat where we are today. Of course, that building was eventually torn down to make way for Canopy's new bottling plant, a modern state-of-the-art industrial facility aimed at meeting what was expected to be an incredible demand for cannabis-infused beverages. And honestly, considering I enjoy the beverages, many of us probably enjoy the beverages, it's hard to contemplate maybe why they have not had the level of success they've had. And I'll come back to that in a moment, where I think we've got to see some regulatory changes provincially and federally. For a multitude of reasons, a global pandemic and a lack of regulatory change at the federal provincial levels, of course, the legalized recreational cannabis market in Canada has not fulfilled the trajectory that we all expected back in 2019. And I'm sure many of you worked here at that time. Today, I still see an industry encumbered by regulations that do not put it on par with the alcohol industry. When in my mind, parity would be appropriate. We still see the legal, regulated market fighting for market share against an unregulated, untaxed illicit market. Federal excise tax, sales tax, the price markups at provincial level have all meant over $1 billion in revenue for our provincial and federal governments, which is positive, but also leaves the illicit market with advantages. There's a direct correlation between the success of the industry and the number of jobs it provides. 2019, Canopy's footprint locally was almost 1 million square feet and employed over 1,500 people. Today, Canopy Growth still occupies, of course, these 2 sites, encompassing approximately 250,000 square feet of space. And while employment numbers are down significantly, let's remember at the end of 2018, 360 people were working for Tweed in Smith Falls. Today, the number is about the same, 350. In Canopy, Tweed remains our largest employer, in Smith Falls. Today, we continue to celebrate Canopy growth in our community. We recognize the role it has played in the revitalization of our community. It added strength and resilience to our local economy, became a stimulus for a long-suffering housing market, and the global spotlight it placed on our town became the impetus for the change we so vitally needed. As a municipality, we are in a vastly different place today than before the arrival of Canopy Growth, or Tweed. We've seen municipal taxes from growth-related assessment increase our revenues by over 35%. We've been able to complete unprecedented amounts of capital work, including almost $40 million between 2022 and 2023. We paid down debt and invested in the quality of life improvements desired by our community. We had almost twice as many housing starts in 2022 than we had in the 2 decades leading up to the birth of Canopy Growth or Tweed in our town. We have a growing population, a strong and resilient economy, and every reason to be positive as we move forward. So before I close, I want to take a moment to go back to the promise made by Bruce Linton and his team in 2014. Bruce promised Tweed would someday occupy 1/3 of the 480,000 square foot building and employ up to 150 people. So despite the journey to this day, what is relevant today, we celebrate Canopy's consolidation of operations at the new 1 Hershey Drive. As stated earlier, they now occupy 250,000 square feet and employ 350 people, and the future is extremely bright. So we want to wish you renewed success and a prosperous and sustainable future in Smith Falls. Thank you, David.